seriousness around long-term high-impact sustainability goals, both environmental and human, was only picking up advocacy-led traction in the last decade or so. Large-scale industry and government-level solutions were still not a priority for most, even though conversations around it have become extremely loud in recent times. And several promising initiatives, platforms, consultancies, dialogues, innovation startups, and tech led initiatives have been kicking in to power this change all over the world and in India as well. Introducing new and well thought out practices, including but not limited to changing fashion supply chain from a linear one to a circular one, based on sustainability goals, requires a huge amount of money. It was challenging and slow enough to get them to invest while the going was good. We may be in a further challenging situation at the present time as companies shut down and others, try to make their businesses survive, reevaluate spends over the next few years. Overproduction, pollution, and wastage, all which is part of a linear structure of production, is a huge issue within the industry, and it also stands to reduce by default because of the current condition of lowered consumerism. However, the compromised supply chain and workers at the end of it will suffer far more because of premature cancellation of orders and reduced demand. While some things are taking a backseat, change also is afoot in other verticals of the business, which is pressing ahead. In the media, with growing consumer awareness on larger impact of fashion and how this is going to change their patterns, solution-based curriculum in reputed design schools, with conscious small designers and some large players still very, very committed to their sustainability changes. And also in the investment patterns of some equity firms who are looking for these kind of businesses for the future. Those who are gauging the urgency of this moment as an approach to fix a broken system, and what indeed is being seen as an opportunity for the century and beyond, as lifestyles and attitudes stand to undergo changes. For consumers, this is where a lot of the questions are being asked in terms of because this is a pause from that kind of treadmill of consumerism and consumption that we were on, of both content and products. What is the kind of product and content that we want to consume? Are we willing to use our money and vote with it to show what we want? Can we keep it considered, which is, read, research before buying, trying to buy, locally made, buying vintage, buying beyond trends, buying less, paying fair, and sending a fairly clear message back to companies to invest in resetting practices for the planet, for the workers, which in itself is a tall order because of how opaque and unclear information around products and their communication can also be in the public space. Fashion journalism appears to be moving from a hyper fantastical aspirational place, which it was in the initial days, with extreme creativity and celebrity, rule supreme, to one which is embracing realism for defaulted reasons. I mean, anyways, the last decade saw a massive a spurt in inclusivity, but at this point in time, I think because content is being created very differently, there's going to be an angle of realism that we may not have seen in the quantity that we're going to see it before. You're also going to see a lot more consideration, collaboration, and innovation, given so much of the work is now migrating online and people are working in unusual circumstances for the short foreseeable future. The sense of touch will be missing for some time to come, with fewer events, travel, and a call to consider the whole fashion global calendar. Its seasons, its number of collections, trends, and there are experts who think that this is going to be replaced by a tremendous emphasis on functional, innovative, and seasonless style. It can no longer, your fashion communication can no longer be tone deaf to the challenges that the world is facing, and only even though the representation, it represents the creative side of the business, it's going to have to look at the creative and the human and the environmental aspects increasingly so as it communicates in the future. The last decade has seen both a spurt of inventions with cleaner materials and a renaissance of old and often handmade techniques that were by default a little bit more natural. Both tradition and innovation stand to find new answers for low resource, low impact replacements of material used in fashion, as awareness and demand grows towards sustainable replacements. There is a growing interest of bioleathers, biodegradable fibers, low resource yarns, natural dyes on one side, but there's also a lot of innovative development like chip containing fibers on the other. With fabrics that we are familiar with like hemp, linen, they're on the rise because of their low usage of water as compared to cotton. But even in cotton, I think there's a transition from high pesticide to organic. So there are shifts taking place in various departments, and over a longer period of time, this will be seen more impactfully. Yarns are being looked at very strongly from a compostable point of view. Everything is being looked at from a compostable point of view. Certain aspects are slowing momentum while others are increasing. How these dots connect in a post-COVID world remains to be seen. Talking about how this is going to shape the way fashion content is consumed and it influences us. I think for the longest time, as I shared, it was aspirational, it was surreal, just grand, and pushed boundaries in creativity and perfectionism. And it also had a certain elite Western point of view as we consumed it initially. The last couple of decades have already seen a fantastic disruption that will now escalate further massively. Visuals and stories will become more real. A lot of it will become personal and localized as publications produce content without larger budgets and large teams, and the ease of flying to locations. Today, with the world in crisis and change, even the fact that production looks like it's going to slow down for some time and people can't travel as easily, the need of the hour is to view all of this through a lens of compassion, support, vulnerability, and intersectionality. Like fashion is not isolated, it's so connected. We all are so connected, and it's never been more visible as it is right now. We see that fashion creatives will be collaborating like never before. I mean, they always have, but it's going to happen in different ways, which is going to emerge through technology. While it does and continues to explore its redefinition, content will be, for some time, it appears, available online freely. Transparency and authenticity is going to be far more the reason for people to communicate in this changing landscape. Being creative with things from home and technology will lead to perhaps new visual vocabularies in a way that will be seen as it emerges. People will still want to be informed and inspired as fashion has done, but perhaps with a sense of a new angle of what is real as opposed to escape, which is a new language for a large part of the fashion world if you look at it historically, even though it's been part of our last decade far more than ever before. I think that some of the key people that I read and follow for a lot of the information that I shared right now is Livia Firth of Eco Age, Fashion Revolution, Rajesh Pratap Singh, Business of Fashion, Voice of Fashion, Copenhagen Fashion Summit, Claire Press, who is the Sustainability Director at Vogue Australia, and Bandana Diwari. So I think that there's a lot of information out there for anyone who's interested and wants to expand on this understanding. Thank you.